to come out and have this important discussion. But before we start, maybe we can start with a prayer. And I'd like to call up Spiritual Director and OAPSE, Ontario Association of Parents of Catholic Education Director. And she happens to be my wife, Edwina McDonald, to come say a prayer, please.
You know, whenever I start my daily prayers, I often will see what the readings for the day are. And often, whatever it is I'm struggling with or I'm working on, the answer is in the readings. And sure enough, today, I found something very appropriate. So I'm going to do a partial reading from Ephesians, and we'll begin with the sign of our faith. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from you. It is the gift of God. It is not from works, so no one may boast. For we are his handiwork, created in Jesus Christ for good works, that God has prepared in advance that we should live in them. Heavenly Father, guide us this evening in listening and sharing, trusting that you have already set out a plan. May our hearts and our ears be open with love and wisdom. We are grateful for the men who have stood up to this challenging role on our behalf, and we pray for them and their families. May we never lose sight that you are the Creator and we are the beloved. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. Your Worship, Mayor Burnett, Councillor Johnson, parents, students, concerned community, and worthy trustee candidates, my gratitude to you all for being present this evening. My name is Mark McDonald. I am a parent. I currently have 4 children that are in the Halton Catholic District School Board. 2 are in the elementary and 2 in the secondary. I have one son who's going to a Catholic university in London, and we have a young grandchild that's just started JK in a different district in the Catholic school system too as well. And of course I am the moderator tonight. So I'd like to just start off by introducing our candidates this evening. First of all, our current Catholic school trustee, Mark Rowe. And our other Catholic trustee candidate running is Ante Skolko. So our plan tonight is to kind of get you in and out of here within an hour and a half. But within that, I want to make sure that there's ample time for our candidates to be able to express what their platform is, to kind of hear from you folks. I want to make sure that you folks have your questions answered. And hopefully we all leave here a bit better informed come October 27th. So I know that we had a couple volunteers that were going around with notepads and paper. There's going to be an opportunity for questions to be asked, and if you can write those questions on a piece of paper, and they'll be brought to me at a later date. So those papers are coming around. I think for that I'll get to what the format is for tonight. But as you know, yesterday we heard in the Gospel, Matthew's Gospel, there was a very famous reading where the Pharisees try to trip up Jesus, and they ask him, what ruler do you adhere to? And Christ gives this really simple but brilliant answer, and he says, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. And in that, Jesus acknowledges that there is importance in local governance within our society and within our world. But at the same time, he emphasizes the importance of God and the important role and the primary role that God plays in our life. Our Catholic school trustees have a very unique position to do the work of God, at the same time being able to engage in the political process and the democratic process, and to represent our views too as well. So I want to thank both of you here for, as my wife said earlier, for stepping up. I know it's not an easy task to run a campaign and to You both really very busy lives, and so I really appreciate you doing that for us tonight. School trustees are elected to the school board every 4 years during municipal elections. Trustees are responsible for setting the school board's overall policy direction and the board's budget, and they represent the interests of the community, parents, and students in their area. By law, they must consult with their communities on the board's multi-year plan, and they must bring concerns from their community to the school board as a whole. So tonight's format, we're going to start off by doing introductions, and I will be giving each candidate 3 minutes each, and that'll be timed by our timekeeper here, Barb. She'll start waving the flags when your clock starts to run out. So you have 3 minutes each to do introductions, and after that, there is some. I do have some moderator questions here, so we have 3 or 4 of those questions, and then we're going to kind of open up the floor and have some question and answer here too as well, and follow through with that. And then, of course, we'll do a conclusion at the end. You'll have 3 minutes each at the end to be able to wrap up and give a conclusion to the evening too as well. I think I've covered. What's that? Yeah, very good. I was actually going to meet you guys out at the front to do a coin flip. And I didn't do that yet. So just to be fair, we could go alphabetically, but I know with a name like Ante, he's always gets to go first as a kid. As that kid with the A always gets to go first. But just to be fair, maybe I'll do a coin toss, and I'll ask our current trustee to say heads or tails. Heads. Tails it is. So I'm going to start with Ante. So I will, if you're ready, Ante, if you could please give your 3-minute opening introduction.
Thank you, CPIC, for putting on this event, Mark for moderating, and Mark for being here with me today, and all of our parents and students and our mayor in attendance. So I hope after this evening you will have gotten to know Mark and myself much more, and I'm looking forward to hearing your questions, concerns, and feedback for tonight. My name is Ante Skogel, and it is an honor and pleasure to run as a candidate for Catholic trustee in Halton Hills. I am 27 years old. I was born in Oakville, raised in Mississauga. I currently live in Milton, and I have been attending Norval Queen of Peace Church here in Halton Hills my whole life. I was educated in Catholic schools from elementary through high school, and later attended McMaster University, and I received a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and I now work on MTO highway and bridge construction projects. Furthermore, I am in a constant state of learning. I have taken many courses since my graduation, offline and online, in my various fields of work. I'm constantly digging into new books, and when I'm on the road and working out, I always have podcasts playing relating to faith and various personal development programs. I also work as a health and fitness coach, creating my own organization called Believer Body. It has become a ministry of service where I have combined my 2 passions, faith and fitness, building a team of people striving towards holistic health from the inside out, soul and body, which is something we should be teaching our children as well. However, the highlight of my week is Sunday, and every day and night that I spend at my church with my family and friends, a few here in attendance tonight, in the body of Christ, giving praise and worship and growing in our faith. At my parish, I serve as an extraordinary Eucharistic minister. I'm a Mass lector. I'm an active volunteer on our church grounds where we have over 180 acres of property, of land that needs to be worked. I'm on the parish executive council, being the youngest member. I teach RCIA classes for those wishing to convert to Catholicism, and also I am the leader of our youth group, where there's a great fire of faith burning in our members, and we have been growing every month with new faces wanting to take part. So, why do I want to run as a trustee? I feel this position combines all my passions and will utilize my skill set to best serve students, parents, and teachers in Halton Hills and Halton region as a whole. I have managed hundreds of millions of dollars in my career as an engineer and deal with budgeting, forecasting, and negotiating on a daily basis. This will transfer very well to dealing with the school board, and it will frankly be a lot more pleasant dealing with trustee colleagues than with vicious, money-hungry contractors on site. Having gone through the system myself in the last decade, I feel I have an up-to-date, immersed perspective on the issues facing students and can bring a fresh perspective to the board. And also with my experience as a youth group leader at church, and through my work through Believer Body, coaching and counseling people, many being student age, I feel I can relate to them very well in this role and serve them as a leader.
Good. You timed that over quite well. Thank you, Auntie. And I'll wait for Barb to reset her clock there. Now, if we could hear from Mark Rowe.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to listen to the trustee candidates for the Halton Catholic District School Board. My name is Mark Rowe, and I am the incumbent trustee for Halton Hills. It's been my pleasure to serve the Catholic ratepayers and students of Halton these past 4 years, primarily because as a retired teacher, I'm still in the same business I entered 35 years ago. Not only have I made sure the board trustees know where Halton Hills and their constituents live and what they value, I have been proud to represent the interests of our parents, students, our diocese, and our teachers and support workers. I am confident in representing Halton Hills because I've lived all my life here. I was raised in Acton and participated in the life of St. Joseph's Parish before marrying and moved to Glen Williams and Holy Cross Parish, where I've served as a Eucharistic minister for decades. I married Kelly Smiley of Burlington, and we raised 4 children, all of whom were educated in the Halton Catholic District School Board, and I am proud to say I now have 3 grandchildren. I am running as Catholic school trustee for Halton Hills to continue the work I began when I was first elected in 2010. Some of my constituents elected me to fight for reduced secondary school busing distance, which came into effect this year. I have been working with our MPP to obtain a replacement school for the aging Holy Cross School, which I am still working towards. All Halton Hills schools are full, and further growth is on its way. I've been working to keep our test scores the highest in the province. I've also been working with my colleagues to update our policies and the way our board functions. I sit on the discipline committee to ensure our policies and standards are maintained. I am chair of the board audit committee, ensuring a careful and extensive surveillance of public money, which includes school-generated funds. I visited every Halton Hills Elementary CPIC to urge support of FACE, which is Friends and Advocates of Catholic Education project, and to sit on the board's Focus on Faith committee. All these things I'm doing to ensure the continuance of our Catholic school system admired around the world. I present this short overview of my work for the past 4 years in the hope that you will agree with my objective of keeping the Halton Catholic District School Board at the top of the Ontario school boards. I know personally that Catholic school teachers are the best in their field for our board to provide a stimulating, structured environment where they reflect the love of Christ for every one of our students. I ask for your support on October 27th so that I can continue to represent and speak for our students, parents, and the caring teachers and support workers we employ. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So this next section, I have 4 questions here. They'd be the same question for both of the candidates. They will both be given 2 minutes to answer these questions, and so I think we're just going to flip back and forth. I'm going to start with the first question, which will go to you, Auntie, and then Mark will answer the same question. According to the Mental Health Commission of Canada, an estimated 1.2 children and youth are affected with mental illness. Yet, less than 20% will receive appropriate treatment. Bearing in mind that the foundation for healthy emotional and social development begins in one's school community, what actions do you believe would be the most effective for addressing the difficulties of student mental health and well-being?
Okay, so this is a sad state of affairs, and I'm aware of these statistics as I have many friends in the field. I would reach out to the leaders in youth mental health, both in Halton and the GTA, to get educated by them and get their feedback on the programs we are providing or could provide for students in the Halton Catholic School Board, and bring these people in to speak on these issues to the children in classrooms and in theaters like this, as we must look out for the well-being of our youth first and foremost, and this will help, as they will not thrive in school if they are held back in this regard. The school needs to develop more physical education projects and clubs that will reach out to students who are not just jocks. Physical fitness and exercise, combined with a good diet and sleep, has been proven to help people suffering from mental illness. As a fitness professional, I could work with the administration to provide ideas for programs, as well as make sure that money spent on new and old programs fits a realistic budget. I will also recommend and vote for the anti-bullying plan put forth by the Catholic Bishops of Ontario, known as Respecting Differences, which no school has yet to adopt in their approach to bullying, as this is a major issue that needs to be addressed. This will help make an impact to those that are mentally abused by being bullied for being different in any way. We are all different because we are all unique and holy, and we need to help the youth realize this. And I disagree with the premise in the question which states that the foundation for a healthy social and emotional development begins in the school community. The foundation of all children's development of any kind, physical, moral, emotional, and spiritual, is the family. This means for me that all programs need the feedback and support of parents in conjunction with the school and the parish. I don't believe that the educational system should ever function without realizing that the family and parents are the primary educators and decision makers for their children, so I'd make sure parents and grandparents would be involved in their children's programs.
Thank you. Same question to you, Mark.
Can you record it?
Well, one's school community is the key to what we can do to support mental health. I've always advocated for Christ-centered, caring school communities where every staff member is a member of the community, whether they're teachers, educational assistants, early childhood educators, custodians, secretaries, lunchtime monitors, volunteer parents. They're all members of the community and deserve respect and inclusion. I include our bus drivers and crossing guards in that community. Do you know that Halton Hills is the only municipality in this board to annually recognize our crossing guards? The whole school village raises the child and are responsible for the child. Added to this basic school atmosphere are plenty of opportunities to be active and involved. As needed, the school provides spiritual and emotional support for students through youth workers, counselors, and teachers. In secondary school, we have support groups for those who feel marginalized to encourage them to not only share their worries, but to encourage them to be part of the life of the school community. All students need to feel cared about and loved, and the Halton Catholic Board tries its best.
Thank you. Next question. What role do you see parents playing in the education system? Specifically, do you believe they should be involved in decisions regarding education policy and curriculum changes? Auntie.
So parents play a pivotal role in the educational system. We need to encourage the use of parent councils like CPIC, who organize this event this evening. These representatives in our schools will ensure harmony and connection with the education from home and the education in school. I believe that parents should have an input in the process of educational policy, and without this, we risk developing a system that ignores the needs of our students. I believe it is imperative for us as trustees to tenaciously represent the best interests of our children and to make sure that our children and their parents' voices are heard and acknowledged. Another area of growth in Halton that is having an impact on parents and students is the French immersion program. It would be interesting to have parental input as to the process and how to improve this program and possibly increase the French immersion sites Halton Catholic School Board currently has to better meet the demands of its ratepayers and meet and exceed ministry expectations. I will also ensure that parents are well informed as they are the primary educators of their children, as stated earlier. And also, my cell number is 647-829-8747, and I am open 24/7, so I'm always going to be available anytime, any day. And I encourage everyone here and those who will watch this recording to call me, and feel free.
Thank you. Is that number on your election signs too? No. Okay. Third question. Oh, sorry. Mark, you didn't answer. I'm going to give you an opportunity to answer. Go ahead.
Thanks. The government quite rightly formalized Catholic parent involvement committees to give parents a voice at the school level, and we have a board CPIC to voice concerns to all the schools. Parents that volunteer in our schools should certainly be embraced as part of the larger community. In regards to the curriculum, that is determined by the provincial government, and they are always receiving suggestions to improve it. Parents should be working with their CPIC to think through changes they'd like to see, and then speak with one voice to the ministry. Trustees have a provincial body, the Ontario Catholic School Trustees Association, to represent their suggestions to the provincial government. The provincial government also determines many school policies in general, but how a policy is implemented in our board is determined by the trustees. The job of the trustee is to monitor the system and address policy deficiencies. I visit the schools, speak with students, staff, and parents on a regular basis. I cannot adequately understand our policies unless I go out and see them in action. Once again, CPIC at the board level can make presentations to trustees on policy issues. When the board makes changes to policy, one of our steps is to circulate it to parent groups and to the Halton Deanery of the Diocese of Hamilton for comment. Any comments submitted are always presented to the trustees for their consideration before the policy is finalized. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 3. There has been a 9% drop in the number of junior students attaining the minimum provincial standard in EQAO math testing since 2010. The Minister of Education has suggested teacher training as a strategy to address the issue of failing math scores. What other strategies do you believe should be considered? Ante?
So our teachers should be trained, and these personal development strategies for them are great, as they also need to be taught whatever can benefit their knowledge and approach that will boost scores and student achievement. We need to evaluate and review the board's goals, objectives, strategic plan as it pertains to the EQAO math testing. Clearly, something is falling short if that many students have dropped off. We need to encourage our schools to develop EQAO programs that help address the needs of a diverse group of learners. Teacher collaboration should be considered across different school boards to see what works and what doesn't, and what can be used to strengthen our board to provide a better understanding of different strategies that work consistently. In terms of other strategies, I think there should simply be more time focused in the classroom on math, as it applies to many vital fields of work in the sciences, business, and most importantly, life skills in terms of helping the students have a better understanding of finances. Also, as much as technology has helped us, I think we should go back to basics in some regards and teach the students the old way of doing things, the hard way, on paper, step by step on how answers are arrived at, and not be totally dependent on calculators, online help, Google, and that like.
Thank you, Ante. Mark?
Under the Education Act, it is the role of the trustees to see that our students score as well as possible on EQAO. To that end, we have voted extra money to provide training to junior teachers. I was just questioning the strategies we employ at the last board meeting. Boards that have done very well in our weak areas share their strategies as we share our strategies in our strong areas. When teachers can draw on several strategies to instruct children, they can appeal to various learning styles to ensure greater understanding of the concepts being taught.
Thank you. Our fourth and final moderator question is, how do you believe our faith impacts our children's education within a Catholic school board? What do you see your role as a trustee in advocating the Catholic faith in education?
So this is a massive issue, and in my mind, has the biggest impact on our students' well-being and helping them fulfill their potential. However, I personally believe, and it is a common sentiment, that there are external forces, i.e. the government, that are trying to scrap our publicly funded Catholic school system, to save costs, as well as remove the Catholic component, which is the core of our schools, and what we are blessed to have as opposed to our neighboring provinces. In my role as a Catholic trustee, I will represent the ratepayers who want this education for their child, and I will fight to preserve the gift of Catholic education in Ontario. I will champion Christ-centered Catholic education, the truth that embeds gospel values throughout the curriculum and school activities, that are in line with church teaching and is consistent with what is taught at home, as our schools are an extension of what is taught by our priests and parents in regards to the faith. I will work towards enriching the prayer life and growing in faith of all of our students through regular Mass attendance and bringing in respected guest speakers for talks on issues directly affecting our youth, and ensuring that the religion courses and related talks in class do not deviate from church teaching.
Thank you, Ante. And finally, Mr. Rowe.
Thank you. We are so blessed in Ontario to have the wonderful system we have today. Our Catholic schools are respected around the world for our Christ-centered philosophy, coupled with our academic excellence. I hear all the time how our schools are different, and that is because we can openly declare our love for the teachings of Jesus Christ, and we can put them into action. As a trustee, I support financially our board's commitment with speakers and programs for students. We also pay for staff religious education courses and sponsor a number of workshops and courses to deepen the faith of our staff. As a trustee, I personally support our Christ-centered schools by attending some classroom celebrations, school masses, staff masses, and staff courses and workshops. Trustees, as representative of the board, must be an example. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I also visited every Halton Hills Elementary CPIC to encourage them to ensure our parents are registered as Catholic school supporters. The obvious benefit right now is that you get to vote for the Catholic trustee. But the numbers also send signals to the provincial government as to how important we see Catholic education, and large numbers are what the government understands.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to the question and answer from our audience. And I think...
So if anybody has any other questions, I'll just come around and drop them.
I should drop my glasses. Let me just give me a minute to organize these. So the first, I don't see any of these questions direct, some of them aren't directed directly to a particular candidate, some of them are. So I'm just going to start with this first one, and it'll be directed to both of you, and you'll have 1 to 2 minutes to answer it. So how have you promoted Catholic values within our youth in the last year or so? Here's the first question.
Well, in regards to the youth, like I stated in my opening statements, that's one of the highlights of my life, is working with youths at my parish, Queen of Peace, Norval, and we meet fairly regularly, and I take great pride in what I do and the light I can bring to them, and share with them my story, and they learn from my experiences, and as I watch them grow in their faith, it's very enlightening, and I think that can carry over well into the school board, and I'd be very active in coming into the schools, elementary and high school, and speaking to the students as they can relate to me fairly well, because I'm only a couple of years older than them, and I think that's how I would do it.
Great. And Mark, if you can answer the question too.
Well, with the students, with the youth in the past year, as I've said, really think it's important that I'm there, representing the board and representing what's important. So I do attend school celebrations and masses, and gone on the board's walk with Jesus in the spring, and support the different events that they've had. Like the last year, for the first time, they had a secondary mass that was the same all around the world, and at the same time. And so, being present at those kind of things and encouraging the students to participate in these events. Even I was a guest speaker for CTK once for their one of their events that they had with the students as well.
Excellent. It looks like this question is directed to you, Ante. Why are you running for election in Halton Hills when you reside in Milton? Secondarily, why are you not running in Milton?
I was prepared for this question. So first of all, in my mind, the parish has more of an impact in the home, and my parish is here in Halton Hills, where we celebrate, praise and worship, and gather together as a community. And I know far more people here than I do there, and also gives me a better chance of winning. So that's number one. And I am so committed to running here in Halton Hills that I had to retain a lawyer, because the town of Halton Hills illegally stated that I was not eligible to run here, and they misinterpreted the law. And it took multiple days and intersections and costs from my lawyer to resolve the matter, and I got a phone call 2 days before the deadline saying, thumbs up. I left work in Burlington, hustled all the way over here, signed up, and I'm here. So I'm that committed. I'll go through a brick wall to do anything it takes to get this position.
Great. We have kind of a two-part question here. The first one, it looks like it's addressed to you, Mr. Rowe. The Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops and Cardinal Thomas Collins did not support the narrow-minded approach of creating Gay Straight Alliance clubs within our Catholic schools, as it does not address the wider issue of various types of bullying. Why were you such a strong advocate of promoting these Gay Straight Alliances within our schools and going against the wisdom of our Catholic bishops?
Thank you. Well, I don't know why they got the impression I was a strong advocate. the name Gay Straight Alliance, unfortunately, is something that was imported from the United States, and with the bishop and the school board, we worked at trying to come up with different names for it. But unfortunately, they made that the law, so that the name sticks. Our board has always had groups available for students who are feeling marginalized and bullied, and the legislation just formalized one particular kind of group that must be available in high schools if it's requested. So, I mean, we've always had these groups. As I understand, we have one high school that currently uses the term Gay Straight Alliance. But we have support groups to help students who, as I say, are feeling bullied or marginalized so that they can be spoken to. We have a curriculum that direction that the adult leaders are to follow, and of course part of that is to make sure they understand the church's teachings in relationship to their behavior, and that's part of what we instruct them in. But the number one issue is to try and make them feel good about themselves, and part of that is to get them back into the life of the school rather than to be ostracized from the school, both by their friends and by themselves.
Thank you.
Can I respond?
I think this question for you is in address. So to you, Andy, because it's the same questioner, would you take the recommendation and advice of the Catholic bishops in promoting the spiritual well-being of our children? You can incorporate this into it.
Yeah, so I think they go hand in hand. In regards to students being bullied or marginalized, ostracized in any sense, I believe the Catholic bishops already put something together that's in line with church teaching, obviously, and that is known as the Respecting Differences Act, and I have that right here and I can share it with anybody after. And that addresses all students, all minorities, all shapes and sizes, all orientations, you name it, it covers it, and that's more inclusive, it's tolerant, and it promotes equality, dignity, respect for all students, regardless of any inclination they have. And in terms of the GSAs, I think that kind of separates them from everybody else, and it doesn't promote chastity either, which is against church teaching. So I'm in line with the bishops, and I take heed to their word.
Thank you. This could be directed to both of you. As a mother of a preteen and teenage daughter, I am concerned with the board's support of HPV shots. The founder of this vaccine has come out against its use. Why is our board supporting this dangerous shot, and what are the candidates' views on this? So let's start with you, Mark.
Thank you. The HPV vaccine was researched by the board, and indeed we had the Chancery Office come and speak to us and assure us that the bishop's position, the previous bishop's position, and the current bishop's position were exactly the same, that there was no problem with schools offering this to the parents. It's still the parents' choice as to whether they want to have this shot administered to their students, to their children. So we provide that opportunity so that the parents, particularly parents who don't have the means to pay for it, because since the school, if they can't get it through the school, they can get it through doctors, but they have to pay for it themselves. And this way it is covered for the students and the parents who have made that decision that's the best way to go. So the board supported that because it makes sense that these opportunities are there. There's nothing wrong with it, and that's been proven scientifically.
Thank you. And to you, I'll take, and you answer the same question.
Well, further to the last question and what Mark just said, this HPV vaccine again, it's against church teaching and is essentially only required for students that are males and females both, that are sexually active. So again, that goes against promoting chastity. And in fact, I have an article here from Dr. Diane Harper, who is the leading expert in this implementation. And she has since gone out and spoke the truth about it. And in fact, I have her whole quote here, I only have 2 minutes, but a big headline that caught me was, so far 15,037 girls have reported adverse side effects from Gardasil, which is one of the shots, alone to the vaccine adverse event reporting system. And 44 girls are officially known to have died from these vaccines. So if we're promoting church teaching and promoting abstinence, there's no need for a vaccine if they're not sexually active. So I don't think it's something that should be taught in the schools. And if the parents and or students are that they have that much intent to get this shot, they can go to their local clinic, and I'm sure it doesn't cost too much. So I don't think it should enter the school property, Catholic school property.
Thank you. A question for you, Ante. You claim the government wants to eliminate Catholic education. Premier Wynne and the government have repeatedly made it clear that this is not on their agenda and it's not open to discussion. What proof do you have of this accusation and assertion?
Well, the government says a lot of things that they don't really follow through on, so I don't know if I trust her words, but it can be seen that through her radical agenda in terms of the education she wants to implement in our schools, in terms of sexual education, that would make us very much in line with the public board. Math, science, the general secular subjects are all fairly across the board similar. But what differentiates us is our faith, our Catholic faith, and if we're going to deviate from that and water it down, does it make us much different? And if it isn't much different, why not merge them? So I think that's the slippery slope we're going on, and we have to stay firm in fighting for this because it's that precious.
Thank you. This is a question for both of you, and maybe Mark, you can answer first. Catechists at our parish frequently get asked if they can engage in yoga, Eastern meditation, and other rites required of them at their Catholic schools. At the same time, their knowledge of their own Catholic faith is next to non-existent.